is it today? Hang on. It's the 13th of August and it's a Saturday. And this is the first time I've been able to get some alone time in the apartment for like 2 weeks. So I basically kicked James out. And he was like, I'll go, I'll leave. And I was like, okay, bye. I sent him off on some errands so I could let you know what I've been up to this past 2 weeks. And I've been busy. If anyone is following me on Instagram, you'll see that a lot of things have happened. I have decided to take on a lot of big projects and I'll tell you all about them right now. So, first, who am I? I'm Grace. I am an Irish girl who's travelling around the world for a year, and currently I am in Sydney in Australia. I have been here for about 2 months now and got a job, and I am working away, just getting some money together before I go travelling back to Ireland. We've decided to head back to Ireland and start being grown-ups soon. So there will still be lots of trips here and there, but so I might change the name if I tend to settle. I might change the name to just Babbles Yarns instead of Babbles Travelling Yarns. But that's okay too. Life changes, isn't it? It's all about the space in your life where you are and where your life is taking you and everything. So that's what's kind of the big decisions that have been made this week. Of course they could change again, but for now that's the plan. Knitting, that's what this podcast is all about, really. Knitting and some other fibery crafty goodness, and drawing as well, some other arty thing. So what I do in my spare time, what I love to do. I finished my mother's socks. I have one FO, my mother's socks. So these are mommy socks for her birthday. And they were made out of Superba bamboo poems. No, it wasn't bamboo, but Superba poems. And this is sorry about that. James just rang on his errands. The shop I sent him to closed down, which I'm really annoyed about because they had the thing that I needed. Anyway, maybe I can order it online or something. Anyway, these are my mummy socks. They're blueberry waffle socks. And I love the foot on them. It's very long foot because I don't know, I never tend to make them even, and that's kind of driving me a bit mad. And I could have, because I had plenty, but I'm always scared I'll run out. I suppose that's the danger with top-down socks, isn't it? So I did a fish lips kiss heel, and so I was going to start with the blue and then do a yellow or orange heel in West Yorkshire Spinners cardamom, because it's really, it's really tough stuff, and then green toe. But when I got down here, I was like, hey, they're totally matching almost. I mean, I'm probably about 4 rows off, but like the blue kind of matches this blue, and this is kind of tough yarn anyway. And so I did it and they match perfectly. I love them. So I wish I had some sock blockers, but I'm not going to buy any more stuff because I'm going back to Ireland now, so I don't need to buy any more stuff to do that. So do you see? Oh, they just turn out so beautifully, and this pink line just really like separates the foot from the leg, and I just really like it. Like, it turned out perfect in both of them. They're almost matching, so I love them. And I was going to send them off to my mum in the post, and I'm glad I didn't because I got to show you on the podcast. So it's just very pretty and satisfying. So this sock is more muted than the other one because there's a fine thread that is plied with the main color, and on this sock it starts off as a bright orange, and on this sock it's a purple, it's a blue, and then it goes to a purple, and then it matches up quite perfectly with the orange, and then it comes down to a green or something. And then this one starts off as an orange and then stays pink and orange the whole way through. So it just brightens up the whole sock on this side. And which is really funny that they worked the same way, because I took from the outside and the inside of the ball, so you'd think that they'd be opposite. But it must just be dyed to do that. I'm not sure. But I'll just get the ball back. It's not attractive. I'm keeping all my ball bands in this thing that James got for his flight down, because he got a premium flight because he's fancy. So this is it. Super Poem Superwash, 100 grams, 420 meters, 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide. And that's the ball band there. Able to see. So on these socks, it does that kind of line thing from the heel as well. So that's what it's supposed to do. So yes, and this color, it's just a number, party 915. Unless the color is party, could be, but it's probably just French or whatever language, German maybe. It has all the languages. So my FO. So I'm going to post them off to my mummy now because it's her birthday at the end of August. So it's probably not going to get there in time, but it'll be fine. So my next whip is my daddy socks. If I did mummy socks, I'll do daddy socks. Sorry. Another interruption. Sorry. So these are my daddy socks. So I'll tell you the story. My father is a very active man. He and a couple of his friends go swimming every morning, if they can, in the river just down the road from us, which happens to be the Shannon River. Many people might recognize it from songs or people named after the river, but it's the largest river in the British Isles, and we have it in our back garden. And just down the road from us it's not in the back garden, it's like a 5-minute drive away. So he goes in the morning, and along this river, we swim in it, and the water is just like silk. It's just really beautiful, and it's really quiet and really still on a perfect day. Sometimes it can be like foggy, sun rising over behind you as you swim across. And if you swim across, so we're on the Limerick side, and if you swim across, you're actually touching Clare, so County Clare. So you've got to swim to Clare and back to get your breakfast, is basically what we say. And if you spot a kingfisher, there's a couple of kingfishers that live along the river, and if you spot it, it's just like a flash of gold and blue as it flies past, because they're very quick, speedy birds, and they're catching all of the little flies that are quite close to the river water in the first thing in the morning. And so the kingfisher is kind of the symbol of my parents, of my father's swimming group. So when I saw that West Yorkshire Spinners had a bird colourway called Kingfisher, I couldn't not make these socks for my dad. So here they are. Aren't they so sweet? So I put up a call for help on Instagram, and as usual, Instagram answered like that. So I was having trouble with the socks that I've first made, with the ribbing kind of pouching out and stretching out over time. And a lot of people gave me expert advice, and I put all of it into play. So instead of a 2x2 rib, I did a 1x1 rib, so to make it extra stretchy. I also cast on less stitches, so I cast on 74, and then I increased for the rest of the leg to 86 because my dad has large feet. Everyone in my family has large feet. Damn genetics. Taken a long time to make people presents, honestly. I need to make friends with small-feeted people so I can make them presents easier. Anyway, so someone at work said, you can buy socks in a shop. I was like, yes, I know this. That's not the point, is it? Is it, people? So I'm loving these, and I'm knitting them on Addy addies. I think they're just the normal addies on a 40-inch cord, I think. 80 centimeter cord. 80 centimeter cord, 2.5 millimeters. And it's working up super fast. This was knit in like 2 days. 2 days of quite quiet days and work and stuff. So yay! And to and from on the bus as well, because I have to take quite a long bus to get to one of the places that I'm working at the moment. Happy days! So hopefully they'll be finished by the end of August and I'll be able to send them to my daddy, whose birthday is in September. So, boop. Whip number 1. I've got many whips. I used to be a monogamous knitter, not anymore, because I want to make everything. So while I was in, I was over in Campsie. While I was over there, there's a big W, one of these kind of big department stores places, and I popped over for an idea that had been a topic that had been requested of me by my boyfriend's sister, Laura. Laura has a little doggy called Keely. Keely is a spaniel. Now, I don't know what type of spaniel because I don't remember these things. I don't remember dog breeds and types and everything, but I got her to measure the dog. Dog, like bottom, dog hips, dog chest, dog, everything. Because she wants a little doggy sweater for the winter time. So I've decided to knit it for Christmas for her. So I'll send that down. Because we're not going to be home for Christmas, unfortunately. We're going to stay a little bit longer and do a bit more traveling. So, red and white. Perfect bag for the job, Mina. Mina makes on Etsy. It's just plain acrylic because it's going to be for a dog. It needs to be. It's going to be get mud all over it. It needs to just be able to throw it in the wash. So, 2 colors. 2 colors. I'm doing Fair Isle, and I've done another thing where I've adjusted a pattern to include Fair Isle. And I had to do the purling back as well because the pattern that I chose has like a flat section. So this is the flat section. And it's going to be one of these Norwegian jumpers. So this is the little bottom bit that sits over the tail. So it's going to be like this. So you knit up Fair Isle design. Look at all the pretty colours. I've just been robbing loads from everywhere, just from Pinterest, just copying them. It looks like there's like a really defined line here, but maybe my tension was just off. You see, like it looks like that's really defined, but maybe it looks okay when I'm looking at it now, but there it looks like really separate. Oh well, that's fine. It looks contiguous. So, and then you join in the round to go under the little belly, and then there'll be 2 little holes for the feet, and then I might decrease down or do like a rib around the neck, so I can just pull it over the head. I found it on a free pattern for dog jumpers. There were millions, and I kind of just gathered everything together and kind of cobbled together my own. So I'm loving how it turns out though, like this, because it's knit up so quickly. Because Fair Isle, you're like, I want to see what the next row comes up to. Oh, I want to see what the next one looks like. Oh my god. Now I did the thing again where I didn't leave enough space, so everything is slightly off by a couple of stitches, so I had to add a little thing there, you know. Oh well, it's not a jumper if I don't do it right. It's not a grease design unless I make 50,000 mistakes. Boop, boop. So that's what I'm doing. Little doggy bottom cover and the tail wagging, and it's gonna fall off. Yeah, it's a dog. So that is whip number 2. Whip number dos, numero dos. Whip number 3. Oh, so let's go back to my epic journey saga, space saga. And this is my Star Wars scarf. And I'm after adding I hope I didn't show you this the last time. I don't think I did. I think I added another one. But it's a TIE fighter. No. Oh, X-Wing. It's an X-Wing fighter. Pew, 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 pew. And it's the same on the other side. Pew, 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 pew. Light side and dark side. And up on the top here, these are going to be like blasters pointing up. Blasters. So I'll show you that next time. So I'm getting there slowly. So this is where I was the last time. And this honestly took about 2 nights. Like, not very long at all. And then I did this in another night. So I've kind of put it down because I was working on the doggy jumper, and I think two color projects is just a bit, it's a lot. But it's becoming a scarf slowly. Slowly. So I'm knitting these on carbons, 4mm carbons. And the wool is 100% merino wool from Morrison Sons. Morrison Sons Estate 8-ply Australian wool. And I'm nearly onto the second ball, 2 balls each. So this much took, where's the end on this one? So this first line actually is the first ball of the second, is the last ball. So from there to there takes 1 whole ball, 50-gram ball, which is 100 meters. 100 meters each side. That's how much that takes, which is good to know. Right, put that away. Next. I'm firing through these. Hope you don't mind. Oh well. Pop that back there. Keep it out of the way. Next. Right, so I have an idea. I got this inspiration from a friend of mine when I stayed in hospital accommodation in Exeter. One of the girls that moved in had this beautiful crochet blanket, and it was just a plain crochet granny square blanket, but the yarn that she had was very drapey. It was cottony. It was, it just felt lovely. Cotton has that lovely cool feel, you know. And I know a blanket's not supposed to be cool, but I don't know, it just feels really nice. So I went into a kind of a big box store called Lincraft down here in Australia, and I bought this cotton. I love these greens, so I am debating whether to put white in between each colour. So kind of like this. This is where I've stopped because I'm not sure about it. I think it would be nicer just to kind of randomly put them together, maybe. I don't know. So it's just a little granny square to start. So it's kind of like a swatch. And I'm using my super cool boy Swiss Army crochet hook. So you've got 4 different sizes on this, so you can change size or just do anything. You just need this in your wallet and that's it. It's awesome. I've got the door open for some light and some air, but like I'm really I was just about to start when my neighbours came out, and my stuff is drying outside, and they were just like, what the hell is going on? Oh well. You're not doing life right unless you get a few funny looks. Right, that's that. So that'll just be kind of like an easy peasy. I used to crochet quite a lot. That's kind of all I used to do, so it'll be nice getting back to it. But I need to figure out my colour scheme first. So my final whip, knitting wise, is my cardigan. I finally started it. So this is Ginny's cardigan from the unofficial Harry Potter Knits book. Now, they did have to rename it because of some sort of like copyright law or whatever. So I've got this, I bought the book on Kindle, and I printed out this pattern. Just I screenshotted and took a picture of it. But I bought it, so there's no infringement on that. So it's now called Knitting Wizardry 27 Spellbinding Projects. And this is now called the Owl Cardigan instead of the Ginny cardigan or Ginny's cardigan. So Knitting Wizardry. Some really nice stuff on there. I think the girls from Strings and More are doing the Bellatrix cape. Oh my god, it looks amazing. But it's all in like black yarn, and it's all lace, and I was like, I don't know if I could do that. That'll be a lot of hard work. Maybe later. So this is the front of Ginny's cardigan. So it's a very simple, quite nice shaped cardigan. It's knit from the bottom up, and then you knit the body bottom up, and then you knit the sleeves bottom up, and then you join in the round for the sleeves, and then you just kind of knit the yoke or whatever. They do some sort of short row shaping for the bust, and I'm like, oh, that sounds magical and scary. So I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. So, work 9 additional short rows. I do know how to do short rows, but I don't understand how to do it in a flat garment. I know how to make a heel from short rows. I'll find out, I suppose. So, but this is the most exciting bit, right? I'm sure people have seen this. But there's little owl faces on the back. I love it so much. And I love this long rib as well. So that's what I am doing. And it is tiny so far because I only started it maybe 2 days ago. So I've been feeling a bit unwell recently, and I've not been able to go out and do much. So James has been running around like a looper, doing lots of things that I just don't feel up to doing. I'm still working and everything because you don't work, you don't get paid. So, so this is my Ginny cardigan. Ta-da! Now, you may notice that it's a cardigan, but I'm knitting it in the round. Do you know what this means? In my future, there will be steeking. I'm scared already, right? So I've added like an odd number of kind of steeking stitches. It's not, the pattern isn't designed for steeking, so I'm adjusting it to steek. What am I doing? Oh, I feel a bit sick thinking about it, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So this is the little section at the front. So this is the cardigan. So this is the little section at the front that I'm going to be cutting up after I have crocheted both sides, so that like it, so you crochet like a lifeline up and down each side between, like, the middle stitch is stitch 7. So yeah, you crochet up and down each side just to hold it in place, and then you just snip, 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 snip right through the middle of the stitch, and then it just folds back on itself, and then I will frantically tie it into each other, and then I'll pick up stitches and do the button band. That means there's no purl rows, apart from all the pearls I have to do the ribbing, but you know, once I get past that, then I'll be just knit until it's done. What do you think? Do you think it's crazy? It's a little bit crazy, but I'm doing it. A lot of people have said, you know, you're so brave, you're so, like, you just throw yourself in, you take on such big projects, and I'm like, oh yeah, but like I'm actually just doing them the easiest way, you know, for me. Everyone's different. Some people don't mind purling, some people don't mind seaming, some people don't mind other things, you know, but I just hate those things, and it stopped me from making a lot of things, stopped me from doing a lot of things. So to get the things I want to do them in the easiest way possible, because I'm very lazy. So steeking, it sounds reasonable. People do it. So I'm not brave. I'm not like, no, I'm lazy. Lazy. Not really, obviously, because I'm doing a lot of, but I love it, you know. I love getting the final product. I love, you know, if it was something I hated, if I tried something and I didn't like it, then I just wouldn't do it. So it's simple. Anyway, I'm keeping that in one of the little muslin bags because I don't have any big kind of sweater size bags. I don't have any money to spend on it at the moment. So yes. And that wool is from Bendigo Woolen Mills. And they give you these gigantic 200-meter balls, so no ends or less ends. So this is Bendigo Woolen Mills. They arrived in such good time as well. It was like 4 days. I ordered it on Monday and it was here on Thursday. So this is Savannah Harbour Blue. 8 ply, shade 475, lot 4. And it's 30% alpaca and 70% wool. Now, it is a little itchy, so I wouldn't put it next to skin, but it's going to be a cardigan over normally my work uniform. It's going to go over just like a shirt. So it's not going to be next to skin. It's going to be lovely and warm though. So that's going to be nice. Nicey, nicey, nice, nice. Made in Australia. Hopefully from Australian yarn, because there's loads of alpacas and all sorts all around the shop. So you never know though, it was quite cheap. It was like $11 for this 200-gram ball. $12 maybe. Such a good deal. Such a good deal. So with that yarn came like all of these, like a catalogue of all of their yarn colours. And I just love seeing them. So cool. This is just all their patterns. So this is a shade card for, ooh, look, isn't it pretty? So this is the Luxury, which is 100% pure soft machine washable wool, and you can feel it and see the actual colours. And this is Stellar, so it's kind of shiny. 50% bamboo, 50% wool. The other one is Classic, so it's a little bit, that's fine. And Classic 8 ply. Oh, this is Classic 2, 3, 5, and 8, and 12 ply. And then the Classic 8 ply is 100% pure wool. I don't know why they're different. Oh, it's just because they're different colors. Right, okay, I see. And then this is the Savannah. This is the one that I got. So I got this kind of harbour blue color, which is kind of greeny blue, and it's really, really pretty. And this is the Aurora, and this is quite, it's very nice. Hand washable pure wool. Very pretty colors. I like this purple, and this blue is kind of purpley as well. It's nice. Obviously a blue girl, blue green. And this one is like the cotton, and they're kind of like rock hard. But that's cotton, I suppose. Very pretty colors though. Look at all these beautiful soft pinks and purples. So yeah, you can get away, you can send away, if you're in Australia, you can get these free and see if you know, really compare the colors. They don't take very long to come through. It takes about a week, and yeah, very pretty. So I was looking at this. Isn't this such a pretty pattern? It's one of their free patterns you can get with the yarn. I ticked it actually online, but they didn't send it out. I don't know. It's okay. I can always get it. Whatever. So that is all my things to do with knitting. Now, I may have told you the last time that I've been going to this knitting group, and I met this really wonderful girl there called Kerry, and she has a flatmate, I think, who has a farm in the country, and they have merino sheep. And she arrived at my doorstep on Monday night with a bag full of, it was 3 kilos of, she said it was B grade yarn, B grade fleece to start. And then we looked through it and it was like, oh, it's so soft. And it's got a really nice little crimp to it. So anyway, she went home and she had a chat with her flatmate, and she turns out that actually it's A grade fleece and it just wouldn't fit into the bale. So it was like a little bit dirtier than the rest of them, and they just left it out of the bale. It's like a whole, you just couldn't fit any more in, so it's just leftover. It's merino fleece, 18 micron width, which is a really good micron, apparently. It's very fine. And what else? It was from a ewe that was pregnant at the time. I don't know if that makes a difference to the fleeciness or the yarniness or the goodness. I don't know. But when you were touching and you pulled it out, it's really kind of very full of lanolin. It's very greasy kind of, but it's really good for your hands. But it did have to be washed. So yesterday, I finally had a day off to do that, and I spent all day washing the fleece. And then I found out that, you should separate out the locks first, because I felt it the first bunch of washing that I did, because I touched it just way too much, just too much touching, because I was impatient and I was like, wash. And I thought I was being really delicate. I totally wasn't. So I will show you the first result of that. This is my first bit of washed fleece, and on this side it's quite, it's quite good, but then on this side it's all kind of felted in together. You see this section? I can pull some of it out and card it out a little bit, and I didn't separate out the locks. All the locks are still a little bit dirty, but it's much softer and much less greasy now, so that's going to be fine. I probably will be able to salvage some of it, maybe 50%. But that's okay, because I had tons of it to try. I was a bit disheartened when I first started, and I was like, it's my first go, calm down. So, next go on the second bit, I didn't push it down so much, and this is what I came up with. So, I've been kind of pulling this apart to card it. Now, my carding skills, I don't have hand carders, so what I've been using is a dog brush. So, ooh, I think I've used all the good bits on that one. Let me use this one maybe. Where's this one? So, what I've been doing is getting a little lock and then kind of just pulling it apart a little bit, but keeping them all in the same direction, because I don't have two of these. I have one of these and one of these. So this I've been kind of using like a blending hackle, like a hackle, and that's what I started off doing. But this one, I'm currently, best ones I'm getting out is just kind of putting a little bit on, and then just, when that's fluffed out, just turn it around, brush out the lock, and then brush this bit out. So you get it super fluffy, 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 fluffy. Keep all of the, try and keep them all in the same direction, and then just pile them on top of each other. So that's what I've been doing with this one, but I've started off with this. Now, I didn't realize, but I feel like I'm over brushing. I was over brushing them, like over carding them, because the yarn is so, like the fleece, the fibers are so thin that they just end up forming little balls and little knots. So I've stopped doing that. But the first time I did it, I was trying to make like a roving-y type thing. So it turned out like this, like kind of a bit of fluffy, fluffy, fluff, fluff, fluff. But if you can see, they're all kind of little knots in there, and it's not very good. So what I did was I would put it on here, and then talk about DIY, right? This is my Diz. Mango pasta. So I would get it and then grab a bit and then just pull it through, and it came out with this thing. I don't know. I'd probably just use it as stuffed toys or something, but it's so soft. So soft. Crazy soft. Now it's still got lots of vegetable matter in there because my first ever time doing anything like this. So it might come out like, I haven't got my hand spinner yet. I'm still in the process of ordering it. And the place that I ordered it from originally just never got back to me. Like they haven't taken my money. They sent me a receipt saying, we are going to take your money. We'll get in contact with you about shipping details and stuff. And then I heard nothing from them for like weeks. So they haven't taken my money, and they haven't told me that it's sent out. They haven't told me anything. So I'm just assuming it's not going to happen. So I got in contact with the Lowlands Legacy website, the Dutch couple that Mina mentioned when she went to Fibre East. I'm just picking out all this vegetable matter still. And they're so sweet. They sent me an email back going, oh my gosh, yes, we post to Australia. We've had emails, we've had requests from all over the world since Mina's podcast. I met her myself, so I was always talking to the guy that she was talking to. And it was just really nice to see that like Mina's mention has brought them so much business. So I've just placed an order with them, and they need to send me an invoice, and I'll pay their money, and then they'll send it down. They said that in Australia, the Australian government, the customs tend to hold things for a while, so it's probably because of so fluffy. So yeah, it might be a while before I get it, just for quarantine purposes and all that jazz. Fluffy. So that was my first attempt. Second attempt was I think I was still overcarding this, so I was pulling it and pulling it and pulling it and trying to straighten out the yarns, but I only have one of these, so that's what I'm sending James out to get, is another one of these. But the pet shop, because he's rang me a couple of times trying to find it, the pet shop, because these are dog brushes, so the pet shop that I sent him to with the perfect thing closed down last week. I hate it when it happens. And then he went to Kmart and he went to a couple of other places, and they all have tiny little round ones, and it's not what I want. I want flat square ones like hand carders, and they do exist, so I'm going to get them online instead and get over it. And then I'm thinking, should I just get the proper hand carders? Because getting 2 dog brushes like the ones that I want it's going to be like $50, and getting the hand carders is $72. So, but then I'm like, will I use them again? You know, I could give them to my friend, you know, because I'm not going to bring them home with me. I mean, I could. It's all money, isn't it? I want to spin this now. I want to spin it now I've made it. Where's my spinner? Minner thing. I have no idea what I'm doing, guys. Like, I'm just playing. So, I am torn. So these are still coming out kind of, if you can see, there's still lots of little kind of, it's almost like nips. I imagine this would spin up quite tweedy or something. So I was still I think overcarding. Is overcarding a thing? Overbrushing? Because they all just kind of form into little bumps and bumps. Or will that fix with more? Because every time I've tried to fix it with more carding, it just ends up worse. So I'm like, no, let's just, less is more. So the best bunch I've been able to get is this. And this is just getting the locks and just brushing them out on one side and then the other side. So they're not getting twisted. I'm not going back and forth over them. I'm just brushing out the locks. And it's the fluffiest. And there's no little blobs or anything. Maybe there's one down there, but it's much better. So I am getting better. Now I just laid them on top of each other. And I don't know if that's necessarily the best way, but is to keep all the fibers going in the same direction. I don't know how to spin a bat. I think this is called a bat. Mini bat. So, does anybody else have any tips, tricks, hints, or free carders that they can post to me? I'll pay postage in Australia because they're so expensive. Squishy. Now, the Bogway hand spinner guys, they had a set of hand carders for €47, which comparatively I think is around the same price, and I have to pay like conversion fees and stuff. I don't know what to do, but it's like a cloud of happiness. So from this to this, it's pretty good. Actually, this is washed. If I showed you the non-washed, it's even worse than this. This is still very messy. So what I've done is, this is my first batch. I actually started separating out the locks and cutting off and trying to take out the vegetable matter before I washed it, to get rid of the, because what you're doing when you wash it, you have to wash it in very hot water. So that's how it felt. It was hot water and I was agitating it. So I was like, schoolgirl error. So I've separated out the locks and I put them like flat in a mesh bag and then just put them in the water and just pushed them down to get them wet, and then left it for like 30 minutes. Took it out really gently, put it on the side, filled up the bucket of water again, dishwashing liquid just to get rid of the grease, and put it back in. 30 minutes, and then rinse it the exact same way, just without the dishwasher. And that was it, and it's working out. And they're drying outside right now, the little locks. I've separated them out again once they came out, and they should be a lot easier to card, at least, because I'll just be able to grab them on one side and brush them on the other side, and then that's it. So, yes. I keep thinking, well, I don't really drink. Like, all we drink is the boxed wine that you get from Aldi, like, because I'm not a fancy wine drinker, and who knows what's in it, I know, but it's cheap and it's nice, and when you come home from work and you're like, oh, fancy some wine, and that's only like 2%, so it's not like it's real alcohol. Anyway, I'm making excuses for myself. I don't need to make excuses. I have this terrible guilt about the amount of money I spend on stuff that I shouldn't be spending my money on, but I'm like, you only live once, you know? I mean, really, if I spend, what, $30 a week on yarny stuff, really, in the grand scheme of things, I don't buy coffee every day, so that's $5 a day out the window, like, you know? Ugh. Why do we feel this, you know? I mean, you can spend your money however you want, as long as you don't get into horrific debt. That's the problem. And I get so much joy out of it, and I just love it so much. And there is an excess, I think, that I can go to. I did buy some more yarn, but I'm going to show them to you as I'm knitting with them, because that'll be more interesting than just being like, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one. So I just bought one, and I'll hopefully cast that on when I finish Daddy's socks, because they're going to be socks for me. Maybe I should, I don't know, we'll see. So, what else I'm going to talk about today? I'm really excited about the fleece. Very excited. My friend basically gave it to me for free on one condition, that I try and get enough yarn for a beanie for the farmer who gave it to me. So I was like, that's a lot of yarn, but it'll be super chunky. Like, I wonder what this is going to knit up like. It's going to be like art yarn, I feel, you know? That it's just going to be like thick and thin and thick and thin. But it's my first time spinning, and I've chosen to buy or get a fleece and start from there. But at least it was free, and I don't feel that guilt of ruining something that I've bought. Even though it's so soft. Oh. Like, I would not put my face into it before it was washed, but now I'm like, so good. Oh, my mum, when she saw that picture on Instagram of the fleece, she was like, oh, I can smell it from here. Oh my God. Her and my uncle, Pat, my granddad had sheep, and granddad would cut the sheep, and then it would be his kids' job to like roll it up and put it away, and they just hated the smell. Like, it smells like a little like a cottage. It doesn't smell bad. It smells like lanolin, and I can't explain exactly what lanolin smells like. You have to smell it yourself, but it's nice. It's a nice smell. So I don't know what the hell Mum and Pat are talking about. I think they just don't like the smell of work. That's the smell of work, isn't it, Mum? Anyway, that's your complaining. It's lovely. So yes, so that's my big exciting thing. Now, my friend, lovely friend, Barbara, had an idea. Barbara from Knitting I Love had an idea that I would do a giveaway, and I would, instead of giving away yarn or things like that, I would give away one of my drawings that I showed last week, or a new drawing. So just let me know in the comments under YouTube if you would be interested in joining something like that. I will, do you know what, I'll just do it. I will organize a giveaway, and I'm going to draw a new picture. So these are some of the images that you would be talking about. So they're kind of Zentangle inspired art, or ZIA, or Zia, as someone informed me. And so something like this, but it's going to be yarny, knitty inspired. And you see this stitch here? This was actually designed by someone who got in contact with me and suggested that I have a little look at her design. So it's called KNYT is the design, the Zentangle, and you can look it up on Pinterest or whatever. And it's beautiful. It's really fun to do, very easy to do. Give it a go. So I'm going to set up a thread on Ravelry, and I will, just pop over and, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's going to, I have to set a date for this time, right? So it's going to run until the end of September. And I want you to, maybe we should have like a Zentangle along, you know, just something small. Just put a little picture up or a little progress, you know, of just a little doodle that you've done. Have a little look. It's so easy, just random lines. People say, oh, I'm not artistic at all, but we're all, like, if you're watching this podcast, you're probably a knitter. That's creative, you know. Just maybe just have a little look and see if you like it. You know, it might be good. You could do mandalas, which are, you know, they're quite base, or even you could include coloring books, because, you know, coloring books are really a thing right now. So maybe I should just do call it like a sketch along, yeah. So yeah, hashtag sketch along. I wonder, is that used already? I don't even know. I'll let you know. But I'll put a thread in Ravelry with sketch along as the title, and I'm going to draw a new drawing, and it's going to be maybe a couple. Maybe I'll do a couple, and I'll just pull loads of names, and I'll do a little giveaway for that. So if you want to join me, if you fancy joining me, for anything at all, have a look on Pinterest. Have a look to see if you see anything you like. Like this is a new one I did, and it's of Hogwarts for the new book that's come out. So the Cursed Child, and I just did a circle and then just filled it out with lots of spaces, you know, with lots of things. And it doesn't matter what you do, pop it up. Put a photo in. Even if you want to do like a progress, if you wanted to chat about it, it's all going to be one thread. So I'll just be able to pull from it and just give, because it's not about finishing something. It's not about having a perfect piece of art at the end of it. But of course, if you do happen to make something beautiful, then fantastic. And don't be too hard on yourself when you're drawing. People find, they try something and then they make a mistake and then it's awful. The beauty about Zentangles is that mistakes can be turned into art, right? So you can just go over it or include it. It doesn't really matter. Like here, I'll give you an example, right? So I started off doing this little bit, and it was inspired by an artist on Instagram called Visiothai. And then I made a mistake with this line here, and I said, do you know what? Screw it. And I just did a big line, and then I did loads of little lines, and then I just filled in everything, you know? So give it a go. Join in. Sketch along. Yay! My first thing along. Nice. And yeah, let me know down below if you like that idea. I'll do it anyway, because it's nice, and I'll put together some things to give away. How exciting! So on to my recommendations section. So a couple of people got in contact with me saying that they started listening to the Fear series by Stephen Moss, and they really enjoy it. Well, they really got into it. So that was really lovely to hear that people, you know, like what I recommend. Sometimes I wondered if it was a bit too science fiction-y. I was like, oh my god, no. So there's another series. If anyone is interested, put it on their list. But my boyfriend hasn't read it yet, and I thought he did, but he was waiting, because I have the last two books on ebook, but I didn't have the first book. So my boyfriend got the audiobook of the first one, and it's read by, it has a really nice narrator, and she's a British lady, very soft, very nice to listen to. So I recommend it, buying the audiobook, but the physical book is also really good. But they're called, anyway, sorry. The Hugh Howey is the author, and it's called the Silo series. And the first book is called Wool, second book called Shift, and the third book called Dust. And it's all about, basically, the planet something's happened, nuclear winter, who knows, the planet's dead, and as far, like there's a silo where everyone is living, and it's all about like the politics, and you know, the idea is with wool that there's a couple of cameras. I think there's one camera at on the top, and it's the only view out into the world. And over a couple of years, like over several years, like the dust and it scratches the camera lens, and it the vision gets like really blurry, and you can't see very much. And the death sentence in the silo is you have to leave the silo, so you have to go into the airlock, and the first thing that they do is clean the lens, the camera lens, with the wool before they, you know, die or whatever, because yeah, that's just their only death sentence is that. And it's so good. The characterization in it is fantastic. There's a couple of main characters, but my favorite character is the mechanic, and she's really well written, fabulous female character. So good. Do it now, and let me know down below if you have read it and if you liked it. Awesome! So that's pretty much everything I think I have to say today. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, so get drawing. Any old drawing to do. You don't have to have fancy pens. You can have like a pencil, a marker, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can do it on a whiteboard, on your, you know, on your, oh, I used to do it on the front of my fridge. You know, the whiteboards that you can wipe off. I just used to sit there and doodle. So just send in a doodle, any absent-minded doodle that you're doing while you're doing something else, while you're on the phone or whatever. It all counts. Any doodle, any art, any drawing, any colouring, anything at all. Art along. No, sketch along, that's what I called it. Sketch along. Okay, see you later. Bye.
Oh, this one is good. Yeah, it is. You know what I mean? You got the head for it.
Wait.
Yeah, he is.
Just coffee.
No, it's not.
Come on, come on. Hello. How are you? Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Except like someone keeps kicking me in the arse.
Oi! What?
Come there.
Don't in my face!
Good idea.
Good to see you, Dave. We're gonna head out.